Hi, today's class is going to be a prenatal hip opening flow to really release those external rotators in the hips as well as the hip adductors, kind of those inner groin muscles as well. So even if you're not pregnant, this is a great practice if you'd like to release tension, release stress, and just really find ease in this kind of evening restorative practice. So if you want to start in Balasana Child's Pose, we'll move to that direction. But also you may want a blanket to have a little lift in your hips for some of the poses, or some pillows if you don't have a yoga bolster or blocks. So we'll all meet in Balasana Child's Pose. So here, really bring those big toes to touch, knees wide, finding a lot of space here, especially if you are pregnant, so there's plenty of room. And just walk your hands gently to the front of your mat as you bring your forehead to the mat. And as we begin here, we're going to find a few nice long breaths and just really ease into the breathing rhythm of our body. So as you start to breathe, just notice the rhythm of your breath. Feel the inhale deep in your back body. And today's practice is going to be about finding release and ease and letting go of any tension or stress. When you're ready to begin this practice, we're going to come into just a nice, easy seated posture. So you can cross your legs here. You can have an option of bringing a little blanket just under your seat bones to have kind of a nice little tilt in your pelvis if that feels good. You don't have to use that either. And we're just going to take some circles with our torso. So almost like you're stirring a pot of soup with your upper body, finding length through the crown of your head, moving through your hips. Again, just noticing your breath here. And move the other way, really lengthening through the crown of your head here. We're going to inhale our hands up and exhale, gentle twist. This time bringing your left hand over to your right knee, finding length, breathing here. And on your next inhale, inhale both hands up, this time right fingertips towards left knee, lengthening through that back body. And when you're ready, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together, finding a space that feels good for you. So often it feels good to bring maybe feet a little bit more forward to have a bit more space between your heels and your groin. Again, if you are up on a little blanket, it feels good here just to help with an anterior little forward tilt with the pelvis. And during pregnancy, we have a tendency or ability to stretch even maybe a bit more than normal. So really find something gentle. We don't want any pushing pressure since we have more of the hormone relaxin in our bodies. So find somewhere that feels good. For me, I don't need much forward tilt for that to feel good. And just breathe here. Notice how your body feels. If you feel a lot of tension or tightness in your body today. And how can you breathe into that tension? When you're ready, we're going to meet in tabletop and just move through a few cow-cat poses. So we're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, crown of the head. Exhale, press through, rounding out that back in cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, press back in cat. So finding a nice rhythm with your breath here. And when you feel like you've been able to find some mobility in your spine, we're going to meet again in tabletop. This time bringing our right toes forward into a low lunge. So as you come into this low lunge, just find grounding here. Really reach through your fingertips. Some nice deep breaths here. And on your next exhale, we're going to peel those right toes up towards the sky, peeling that right hip back into a half splits here. So really feeling a stretch through those hamstrings, inner groin muscles, and just find some release here. We're going to roll through to low lunge, meet back in tabletop, and really making sure to keep our wrists under our shoulders, knees under our hips. This time we're going to bring our left foot through low lunge here, finding a stance where it doesn't feel like you're overstretching or pulling. Just really sink deep into that. And on your exhale, peel those left toes up into half splits. Really feeling that in the left hamstring, left groin area. Breathing through that. We're going to roll forward. And from tabletop, we're going to come back into Dandasana, staff pose. And so maybe move the fleshy part of your glutes away if that feels good. Finding nice length here. Again, you can sit on a blanket or towel if you'd like a little more lift, or always feel free to bend your knees a little bit here. Reaching through, lengthening through the spine. And exhale, just a brief fold here. Maybe wider stance. And inhale, lengthen again. And so we're going to move into a wide-legged forward fold here. And again, like in butterfly or bound angle, we're not going for our maximum stretching capabilities here. So you can almost use a blanket or a towel as like a little buffer to tilt you forward a slight bit, keeping your legs a width where it feels really good in your body. It doesn't feel like you're overstretching in any way. And we're not going for crazy forward fold here. You can bring a pillow if you'd like in front of your forearms to really lean into that. So just find a place where you can feel a stretch, but nothing too intense here. We're just going for relaxation. So really breathing through that so you can feel those hip adductor muscles, those inner groin muscles stretching and releasing. Making sure to keep those toes to the sky. What can you release and let go of in today's practice? On your next inhale, we're going to come to lengthen, and we're going to move into a little, a very minor, mild, revolved head to knee pose. So we're going to almost be sliding towards that right leg. Again, being really aware and cognizant of how it feels in our body so we're not overstretching anything. So on your inhale, you're going to come up, extend, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, just tip over to those right toes. You can keep your left fingertips on your hip. You can bring them to the sky, or bring them a little more up and over towards your ear, but that might be a bit much. So it would probably feel good just to have a gentle opening here. Really feeling length through that side body. When that feels good on your inhale, let it lift you up. And exhale, we're going to move into that other side. So this time coming towards those left toes. Maybe your right hand's on your hip. And we're again looking in a direction that helps open the chest without crunching. Let your inhale bring you back up to center. We're going to move. We're just going to take one gentle vinyasa flow here through tabletop. So coming into tabletop here, we're going to press back into our downward dog. Not many of those today. So imagine someone's pulling you up by the back belt loop. So you can really find length through this here. Feeling a nice opening in your chest as you lengthen your spine. I'm going to roll through. If you'd like to come into one little modified plank here, you can, but no need to. And this time we're going to walk our hands back actually, kind of peeling your toes, spilling them over the sides of the mat, possibly coming into our Malasana garland pose, our yogic squat. And in our squat, we really want to find length. We don't want to crunch down. We don't want to collapse through the pelvic floor. We really want to find a nice lift and lengthening. You can press your knees open a little bit with your elbows. And again, finding ease here. Notice your breath. When you're done, you can bring your fingertips to mat, walking your toes in. A little forward fold here, let everything hang. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle, sweep our hands up. And exhale to heart center. And so we're just going to move through a little flow back down to downward facing dog. We're not taking much time standing today. So inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back. One more option today for a little modified plank if you'd like. Just exhale, press. Inhale. And exhale brings you back to downward facing dog. And this time we're going to come back into our tabletop to come into frog here. So this is going to feel really good in those inner groin, inner hip muscles. Again, making sure not to walk your knees too far wide, keeping your heels either parallel or a little in from your knees. And if it feels good, you can come on to your forearms here. And just find a place where you can find ease here. And breathing through that as you release in that stretch. We're going to walk our hands back, bringing those knees in. We're going to move to stretch those external rotators, so those outer hip muscles a little bit. If it feels good for you, we're going to come first into figure 4, then in fire log, which is a little bit more intense. So choose which feels best for you today. You can bring your left ankle just above your right knee And I definitely need more space here as my belly's growing. Find a little gentle movement here as you kind of relax those external rotator muscles in that left side. And if it feels good, you can walk your right foot over to the side of your mat, bringing your left ankle above your knee and opening here. And so there can be a lot of space, a lot of distance there. You could even put a block there if you'd like to find more stability there. And this might be for you, it is for me, the most intense posture of today, just to find, release, and breathe through. When you want to come out of it, we can roll a little bit over to a right side, unwind that foot. This time we're going to bring our left sole of our foot to the ground, bringing our right ankle just above our left knee. Find a little opening here before we move into the option of fire log. This time walking our left toes over, bringing our right knee towards our ankle if it feels good. And just finding some stretch here. As we let everything go and release here. Again, to come out of it, maybe move over a little bit to your left side. We're going to come into a tabletop. Just find some movement here. Maybe come through a few cow, cat poses. Exhaling through cat. And so we're going to come down onto our back. And here is where you might want to modify a bit. So you can use either two blocks, one a bit on the taller setting and one on the shorter setting. Or you can use, like me, a couple pillows to make almost like a little ramp here. So we're not flat on our backs in any way. So kind of snuggle that a little bit towards your sacrum area, coming into bound ankle pose, letting the legs drop open. And so this should feel really good. It shouldn't feel like any tension here. And on your inhale, let your legs come together, this time knees, feet walk a little wide. If it feels good, you can kind of open your chest, cactus arms, or if you're on pillows, it might look slightly different, or you can just bring your arms to rest on either side. Going to inhale, exhale, lower our knees over to the left. Inhale our knees up this time. Exhale, drop to the right. Inhale, brings your legs up. And so a few options here for our final resting posture for today. You can either stretch your legs long. You can maybe come on your left side and put a pillow between your knees, or rest your ear on your bicep. So more like this. Or you can just stay with a nice little incline in your back here if that feels good. And so we're going to go through a little brief progressive muscle relaxation here. So take a few breaths to just really relax, feel everything press into the mat, into the ground. How relaxed can you feel? So starting with the crown of our head, we're going to almost imagine you're wrinkling your scalp, your forehead. Just tense all of your facial muscles. Inhaling into that. And exhale, let all of the muscles in your face relax. Then more specifically in your jaw, tighten your jaw almost like a grimace or a forced smile. Inhaling into that. Exhale, let all of your facial muscles relax. We're going to come into our chest and back and being aware of your belly if you are pregnant. You don't want to tense or tighten up too much, but just maybe in your shoulders, bringing your shoulders up to your ears. Inhale and exhale, let those release. Now coming into our arms, we're going to clench our biceps and forearms and hands into little tight balls as we inhale. Exhale, let everything go. Now moving to our glutes and upper thighs, we're going to tense everything here. Inhale and let that go. And now we're going to kind of tense our calves. You can maybe flex your toes, pressing your heels away, feeling the tightness in your lower calf. Inhale. Exhale, let your feet relax. Then one final time, just clenching, tightening in your body. And then see how relaxed you can become as we find our final resting posture in Shavasana. And I know it's easy to want to skip this piece or rush through, but really this is the best part, and when everything can sink in, we can really find rest here. So feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. Or when you're finished, you can come roll onto your left side, pressing back up into seated and taking your time so we're not rushing too fast through that. And we're going to take one final collective breath together. So when you're ready, inhale and exhale. Thank you for practicing.